All right, we just are now live. So, hi everybody that is watching this. This is the Since You've Been Gone live show for the Random Read-Alongs group. So, welcome.
Hi.
Hello.
Uh-oh.
What happened?
One of us has. Oh, it's me. Sorry. I had an echo in the background because I had the other window open, so I'm very unprofessional.
I thought I was about to be dropped out again.
You're like,
I was like, I'm still
no!
here, guys. I'm still here.
I thought I broke something because I opened up the question
Oh, it
tab
was all
thing.
me. It was
I
all
was
me.
like, oh no.
All right.
Okay.
So after that little kerfuffle, so I'm Sam from Thoughts on Tomes.
I'm Kristin from Cap89X.
And I'm Sarah Jane from TheBookLife.
So this is the first live show for the Random Read-Alongs group. For those of you that might not know, this is just a random read-along group. We are not scheduled really at all. We schedule the live shows, but other than that, we don't really plan anything, and we randomly decided that we wanted to read Since You've Been Gone.
Yeah, no commitment, no rules, nothing.
Exactly.
Relax all the time.
Yeah, that describes us.
Pretty much. So I guess we're just going to go through and say what we originally thought of the book before we even started reading it. So I guess I'll go first. I had read the other Morgan Matson book, Amy and Ryder's Epic Detour, before reading this, and so I expected a cute story with a little bit of romance in it, and that's pretty much what we got. I liked that this one was more revolving around friendships, and that's why I wanted to pick it up. So I thought that it fit what I thought it was going to be by the cover and the springy summer theme and everything else. So I really enjoyed it.
I thought it was going to be kind of how it was. I didn't expect a lot, but because it was YA contemporary, quite girly, I didn't really have like massive high expectations. But I thought it was going to be how it was, if you know what I mean, and I just wanted it to be, like you said, like revolving around friendships and stuff, because of like your video, it really made me think about that. So I wanted it to be a cute, happy story, because that's just what I was in the mood for, so.
Same thing with me. I had never read a Morgan Matson book before, so this was my first one, and I'd heard it was this cutie summer story, and based on the cover of them eating ice cream, I was like, sure, I'll read this, and I had it because Book Outlet had it on sale, so you guys asked, we all said we're going to read it, and I was like, yeah, and it was a cutie contemporary friendship YA book, and it was good. I liked it.
Yeah, I haven't read anything else by her either, actually. This is the first one that I've read as well, so.
Okay. Yeah, I was like, I really liked it. It's contemporary YA. I mean, it wasn't bad. I loved it. I mean, I'm going to read, is it Second Chance Summer she has now as well?
Yeah.
Is that her? Yeah, so I think I want to read that one next of her books. I want to try that one out.
I got the Epic Detour book because I got that when I watched your book haul, Sam. I think I literally watched it and went, I'll have that, bye. So I think that will be my next one, but I think I'm going to save that for summer because it feels like a summery read. So.
Yeah, they're all kind of, I think her books are very summery. I mean, I feel like contemporary is very summery, to me, anyway, typically speaking. So
yeah.
The only one I have left to read is Second Chance Summer. And I want to read it, but I also want to, like, wait because I like her books a lot. But she has one coming out, I think, in 2016 or 2017, so.
That's too long.
Okay.
I know.
Yeah,
and there's no title or anything for it yet, so that kind of.
Oh, come on.
But. Yeah.
This is definitely a good book when you need that, when you need that contemporary, like, pause before you dive into, like, another, I don't know, I'll go like this, like, literally dive into, like, another fantasy book or something. When you need that just girly pause, this book is good for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. You always need the warm fuzzies every once and again.
Yeah, definitely. It gave me the warm fuzzies.
Definitely, definitely. So what did you guys think of the very beginning, I guess we'll just start at the beginning of the story, and Sloan disappearing and her getting the list and everything? Like, what was your initial thoughts with the first, 3 chapters or so?
I didn't like Emily, and I thought I really wasn't going to like her throughout the rest of the book, because I was just like, oh, come on. Like, I knew that Sloan was obviously the more outgoing of the two, but when every other sentence was like, I couldn't do this without Sloan, I was just like, can you not do anything? But obviously I know now that that was her arc and that's where she had to begin. But in the beginning I was a bit like, oh, I don't know how I feel about this. Because I really liked Sloan and I didn't know if we were going to get a lot about her.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I felt like we got to know her really well, but in the beginning I wasn't sure if I was going to get to know Sloan enough, so I wasn't sure how I felt right at the very beginning.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I mean, because of Emily being the way she is for herself, she's like, I can't do this, I can't do it without Sloan. It felt like she didn't like herself, so then I didn't like her. And the more she talked about Sloan, the more you kind of liked Sloan more, even though you basically never even saw her. So it was like, what is this, aspect? Because I didn't know. I was like, Emily is just kind of a wet blanket. I was like, she's so boring. She's like, I can't eat ice cream without Sloan, and I can't sleep anywhere without Sloan. It's like, oh my God, this book. If she's gonna complain for 50 chapters or 8 or whatever, there's only like 8 in it.
Right.
It's just like, oh my God, this poor girl. But it gets. We'll go into that later.
Right. I felt similar, but I kind of liked how the friendship was set up because I think we've all kind of in high school and middle school and stuff had those kind of friendships where you latch on to your best friend and you feel like you can't do anything without them. I mean, I definitely did that when I was younger, and being like I can't talk to people without my best friend. Like I have a best friend currently still at the age of 25 where for the longest time we were so close, people like considered us a package deal. Like we went to all the parties together, we did everything together. Like people were like, you guys should have your own sitcom because you're always together. So I kind of immediately understood that relationship and could put myself in that relationship. Not necessarily where it wasn't this extreme, like I've never had a relationship where it's like one is so much more outgoing than the other one. But I still got that, like, especially with high school when you're insecure, like I kind of got where she was coming from a little bit, but I'm glad that it did kind of take, as soon as she got the list, she started going and being her own person a little bit more, because otherwise it would have been a little like, hold on, Emily,
she was very
you can do
relatable,
this.
wasn't she? Like, she was very relatable.
Yeah.
Even if I was like, oh, I don't know if I think it was more like I wasn't sure if she would tell a good story, if you know what I mean. But as far as like being relatable goes, I mean, for obviously being YA and stuff, I think it's a book that a lot of people can connect to, whether you're more of an Emily or whether you're more of a Sloan, or even if you're someone who has a few traits of both.
Yep. Yeah, I was going to ask that question later, but I was going to ask it now. Who would you think you were in this before we talk about the middle and the end? Like, I'm not sure. For me, I'm like, I think I'm a middle person. Like, I don't know. I'm not an Emily or a Sloan. I'm just there.
Yeah, I could go either way, too. Like, I think, again, in, like, middle school and stuff, I was more of an Emily. So I was definitely like, I can't. I'm very shy. Like, in real life, I'm actually very shy when I first meet people, unless I know them ahead of time and stuff, like from online or whatever. Yeah. But as far as, like, I can't do stuff without another person there. I can't go to a restaurant by myself. I can't do any of that stuff. And I think that's something that comes with age, too, as you get older. You just can kind of do stuff alone more. But I definitely could relate to her being like, I can't do this without my friend. But now, as like, I can relate to Sloan too, as like, I don't really care and I can do whatever. But Sloan is almost more of a bigger personality than even like a normal person can typically be. Not many people would do some of the things that Sloan did, as far as like the very dramatic things that she did. But I could still relate to her too, and again, kind of in the middle. Could kind of relate to both.
Yeah, same. I'd say I was in the middle because I'm not necessarily a shy person, but then if I get like anxious, then I can be. So it's like, and I think most people, whenever you read a book or whatever, most people, you ideally want to be in the middle, don't you? A little bit of everything. Yeah. But also we have to remember that was just Sloan through Emily's eyes, and while she did put on this front, she obviously wasn't as outgoing. Well, she was outgoing, but she wasn't quite the Sloan that Emily thought she was.
Yeah, exactly.
And so, it's probably when we're thinking like, oh, are we more of a Sloan or more of an Emily? Sloan was probably just as nervous doing those things. We just didn't know her. So it's kind of an interesting take on it, I suppose.
Yeah, I agree. As far as the list, what did you guys think when you first saw the list? There's some things that obviously Sloan was doing, like, come out of your shell type things like the skinny dipping and stealing and stuff. But how do you think Sloan came up with the list? Like, how do you think Sloan came up with Hug a Jamie? Like, why was that?
I had so many theories about that.
I don't know.
I went crazy.
When I was reading it, I was like, did I miss something? Like, why is Jamie on there? Like, who is Jamie? Like, why the name Jamie? Like, I didn't get it. So I was like, I must have missed something. But now that you're asking that, I guess I didn't. So
you didn't.
I have no idea then why we picked the name Jamie.
I had so many theories. I was like, well, I wonder if Jamie's going to be this, and I thought maybe Jamie was going to be someone that, like, Sloan thought that they'd be cute together, so she wanted them to hug, and then they'd meet, and, you know, when she goes to the house, and there's, like, the builders there, and it's like, he doesn't offer his name, and I don't ask for it, I thought, that's because you're going to find out his name, and it's going to be important, and blah, blah, blah.
That's what
and
I
went,
thought, too.
yeah, and no.
Yeah.
So
I was like,
read into it way too much. Yeah. I thought we were going to find out his name, and it was just, it seemed like a bit in a book where I didn't ask his name, but I should have. No.
Just kidding.
Exactly. Yeah, because some of them definitely had, you know, meanings behind, like the dress, we, you know, found out that there was a dress that she was supposed to get before, like, Penelope, like all these different things. So that one was, I think, the only one where you're like,
are we all trying to find the list? Because none of us are looking. We're all looking away. I think we're all trying to find the list.
Yep.
I just looked up and all of us are going,
We're like, well, that's accurate. Yeah.
Yeah, let me make sure. Oh my god.
Yeah, I read into too much of them. Like, some of them I was just like, oh, what? And you could tell that what some of them were meant to be straight away, like obviously pushing her out of her shell, but some of them I just didn't know. And I liked the way that some of the chapters, they said what the task was, but when she started it, she thinks it's another one.
Right.
And I liked that. That was really cool, because it wasn't like it was spoiling it for you.
Right.
Because that wasn't how it all played out, and I really liked that.
I originally thought, when I'd heard, and even when I got the book and saw, like, the 13 on the back, I didn't think that was the entire list. I thought there was going to be, like, hundreds, and, like, in my head I was thinking, like, when they make the movie, it'll be like a montage of, like, her completing some of these, but these are the key 13 that you're really going to focus on. Like, that's what I thought. So when we were going through, I was like, really? Like, only 13? I don't know, because for me, I just felt like most of those things like that in books are always, like, overdone, or especially movies. So I was like, oh, there's only 13? Like, that's not that hard. Like, I don't know. I just had in my head, like, she was going to have to do, like, 150 or something.
Right.
And usually in a book or in a film, some of them would be glossed over, wouldn't they? Like, it would be like, oh, I completed the blah, blah, blah one this morning, and then you'd be like, what? I missed it? Whereas with this, we got to see each task in depth, and I really like that.
I liked all of that, too. What did you think of, let's see, like, one of the first tasks she did was the ice cream shop, right? So she met closely after everybody. The, like, who was the girl next door? Dawn, the one that was at the pizza shop? Yeah, so what did you guys think of Dawn and that whole kind of friendship and everything?
I was afraid Dawn was going to turn into Emily, and Emily was going to be, like, the Sloan of that relationship.
Yes.
Like, and they were going to have to try and, like... But, you know, it turned out that they were actually pulling on each other, which was nice, but I was afraid it was just going to be, like, this chain reaction where, like, Dawn's going to latch on to Emily, and then, then someone will latch on to Dawn. So I was happy. I liked their relationship. It was neat to see it grow. Because it was, like, the first encounter was so awkward. Like, she was like, can I just be over here because I just got cheated on? Like, please help me. And then it turned into, like, this cute relationship that they had, really good friends. So that's what I liked about it.
Yeah. And it was a very equal friendship as well, like you say. And I think it's not that her, like, Emily and Sloane's friendship was a bad friendship. It's not like it was uneven, like, you know, she was just a shy person. But it was nice to see her have this friendship with someone where she was growing with them, and they were both trying new things, and they were both becoming new people. So it was really nice to see that, because obviously Dawn was in a different place because of the cheating thing, and, you know, obviously she felt really vulnerable after that. So it was nice that they were both in a position where they really could just do with a friend, and they both got that.
Speaking of the friendships, I loved the little friend group of the four of them, like Dawn, Emily, Frank, and what's the other guy's name?
And Frank.
Colin?
Collins and Frank.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Horrible at remembering names. Yeah, I just loved all their little dynamics, and, you know, it was a very realistic friendship group to me, especially for, like, high schoolers. Like, you have those friend groups where, like, somebody has a crush on someone else, but the person doesn't know. And, like, you know, because Dawn had a crush on, like, Collins or whatever. And it was just, like, a cute, like, these people wouldn't have usually been all friends, but through all these little circumstances, they all kind of found each other, and it was just it was cute, like how Collins was trying to help with the list, even though he's kind of a jerk about it half the time. And it was just adorable.
And it was nice to have a book that centered around high school I don't say kids, high school kids, but you know, about being in high school, but not actually being in high school. Like we didn't actually have any of that. It was over the summer, and I really enjoyed that. Because it didn't matter who were at school. It didn't matter who was cool and who wasn't, because that's not what the story was about, and I really like that.
Yeah, it was nice to be out of the school setting and like not have the sports and not have the class and the tests and everything. It was nice just to have, you know, young kids at a summer break and what their antics are like there in that setting.
Yeah. Right. I think if it had been set in a school, it could have been quite predictable. But the fact that we had it over the summer, the story over the summer, I just felt that it gave these people a chance to be friends that perhaps wouldn't have been friends, but it still felt really natural for them to be friends.
Because Lisa would have been here.
Right.
Get out, Lisa.
What did we think of Frank when he first made his appearance and stuff? Like, what was our initial reaction to Frank? Because you obviously know that he's being set up as a love interest. So
loved him.
Yeah.
I absolutely loved him.
Yeah.
You could tell he immediately liked Emily.
Yeah, he like knew her name and everything. Like he was like, name's Emily.
Like, oh, why are you here? Like, hi, and where's your friend Sloan? Like, oh, no. Right. And Emily's like, oh my God, Frank Porter is talking to me. Like, what?
Right.
I like that whenever Frank was introduced in the beginning, he was never introduced in a really cool position. And what I mean, at the wall climbing place, and then when they're running, she's always in a better position than him. Like, first of all, he's like up in the air and he's really scared. Then they're on a run and he's not as fit as she is.
Yeah.
So it wasn't in a position where it was like, oh my God, the really cool guy's talking to me and I'm a loser and he's perfect. They were actually introduced and he wasn't like that, and I really liked that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he reached out to her, like, help me run, please, because I can't run.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I thought that was really cute too.
Perfect.
I like how Morgan Matson does the characters. Like, that's kind of, it's very similar in Amy and Roger's Epic Detour. Like, I'm not going to spoil anything for that book, obviously, but the characters are very realistic and nobody is, like, better than the other. Like, I feel some YA and even, like, new adult romances especially, you have, like, this very awesome guy who's perfect, and the girl's just like, I can't keep up with this, but he likes me, and oh my gosh, where this was, like, they were a balanced friendship and relationship, and there was give and take there, and it wasn't one above the other. So I really like that too.
And it wasn't like he's perfect, and suddenly because he had an interest in her, suddenly she felt validated, and then she was just as beautiful. It was just nobody noticed, and it wasn't about that. It was just these two people who met, became friends, and then it developed into something more. And if that's done right, it's enough, and it was enough. So yeah, I just liked how he wasn't introduced as like the perfect, you know, guy, and he's so perfect and I'm so geeky, and you know, you know, he couldn't even run, bless him.
I know, poor little thing. How did you feel about the finding out at the beginning also that he does have a girlfriend still? Like, what was your thoughts with that?
I didn't really see it as a big deal, which sounds really awful. But what I mean is that we never actually met her until way into the book, so I didn't really think, oh no, he's got a girlfriend. It was like, oh okay, he's got a girlfriend who's not here, and straight away when he was like, oh, you know, she's away, I just thought, okay, they're going to grow distant. Like, for me, not that I didn't enjoy that aspect, but I felt that it was a bit predictable, because it would have been probably harder to read if she had been around. Like, if we'd ever seen them together once, it would have been harder to you know, I would have been able to grasp that he had this girlfriend. But because we never actually saw them together, I did keep looking at her like a plot device rather than an actual character. Sounds a bit bad, but yeah, I wasn't really as bothered about it because we never really saw her.
That's what, Sarah Jane, I was waiting, like, as you were talking, I was like, what am I going to say? And I honestly think that Morgan Matson just put him in there as a writing tool to put an inner struggle for Frank. Because what other struggle does Frank have in the book? I mean, yeah, he can't run, but, like, his only struggle is that he won't date Emily at a certain point, obviously, is because he has a girlfriend. And Lisa, you know, is there, but she's not. So for me, it was irrelevant, just like you said, Sarah Jane. Like, she is there, but she's not. And I know she's not going to be a problem because, for me, she's just going to grow apart. I thought it would have been more interesting if, like, she had come back and then there was maybe, like, an explosion of, like, Emily and Lisa and Frank and like, oh my God, what's going on? But I mean, once she had called and said like, I'm not coming home for 4th of July, I was like, she's done. Like, that's it. Definitely done. Like, so because you had a ride, there was all these reasons you could have made it, and yet you still didn't come. So obviously, it's because you didn't want to, not because you couldn't.
Yeah, I think that was handled really well because I was worried at the beginning. I was like, oh gosh, are we gonna have this like weird cheating situation? Because that's just, it makes everything uncomfortable. Because Anna and the French Kiss again has a plot kind of like that where the guy is with a girlfriend. And that one was slightly more comfortable than this one was because, like you guys said, she wasn't around. But it was still in the back of my head, like, I want to ship this really hard, and I can't because he still has a girlfriend. So I kind of am just like, I know he's not going to eventually, but he does right now. But he wasn't he wasn't crossing over any boundaries. Like, I think they were still acting like friends. There was no, they weren't like holding hands or like kissing or whatever. Until like obviously like the very, very end and stuff like that. But I think it was handled very well. And like you guys said, when she didn't come home for like his birthday or something, and it's like, okay, like that's
I forget.
Yeah, it was the birthday or 4th of July or whatever.
I think it was both. I think she didn't come for the 4th of July, and then she was meant to come for the birthday, and Emily went to get her, and she didn't come, wasn't it? I think that was it.
Yeah. Yeah. So she had all these opportunities to come, and it just kind of felt like one of those high school romances where they've been together for 4 years, they're really comfortable together, but then they finally go separate ways, and they're like, oh, we don't really work out anymore. Like, we've just been together for 4 years and whatever. And it was a very, like, natural transition, so it didn't blow up like, oh, you took my boyfriend from me. It was like, well, we were kind of both done anyway, and like,
she was like, I'm feeling it.
Right. So that was nice.
It's meant to be a cutesy, happy book, so I suppose if we'd have ever met her, that would have changed the whole tone of it. And that wasn't what it was about. Obviously, it was about Sloan and the list and stuff, but because we didn't meet her, which makes sense that we didn't, but because we didn't, I didn't really have as much of an issue, like, because until we saw her, she wasn't a real person in my mind. I was like, she's just a plot. I was like, oh my god, and my heart was going. And then when she didn't she was like, oh, I'm not coming. I was like, oh.
Well, that was easy, right?
Yeah.
What was your guys' favorite task that she had to complete?
That's quite interesting. We should do like favorite and least favorite.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Which suggests that I have a least favorite, doesn't it?
Yes.
Favorite. I'm literally reading the book. I'm
I know, that's what I'm doing, looking at the list.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of which one would be least favorite, actually, now that you mentioned that. So let's go with favorites first, and then we might be able to figure out which is least favorite.
I know what one's my most favorite.
Now, are we saying for Emily, or the favorite one that you, like, actually enjoyed, or watching her do? You know what I mean?
For Emily, I think, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Or both.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, I know what I'm going to pick. Who's going to go first?
You can go first since you know.
Should I do just my favourite one, or favourite and least favourite? No, let's just do favourite first.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. You're like, what is your least favourite? What's going on? My favourite one was Share Secrets in the Dark. That's when they're on the beach, isn't it? Unless I've got that completely wrong. Yeah?
Yeah, they're one of the first beach ones.
It was written because you saw, like, the passing of time.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just like, oh, and then we're like skimming stones, and then we're doing this, and then we're doing this, and I just loved how all this time went by, and it wasn't about anything physical between them. It was just about how she was just so relaxed around another person that wasn't Sloan. And I really enjoyed it. I liked the setup of it. I liked the way it was done, like the passing of time, like the chats and stuff. And yeah, I think that was one of my favorites.
Go ahead, Sam.
Okay, I liked skinny dipping. I thought the skinny dipping one was the cutest one. Like, that chapter was just cute, and like everybody, you got to kind of see everybody's personalities almost, weirdly enough, you know, like Colin stealing everything like a jerk, and just like Dawn running around naked on the beach like she's running in the wrong direction. You're just like, where are you going? And like, it was just, I could just get the tone and the sense of everything where they're just finally, like, they're all such good friends that they're skinny dipping together. Like, really? You know, like, it was just, I thought it was really cute. Like, that was definitely, like, the signal of, like, okay, she's really kind of her own person at this point, because she would have never done that before. Because at the beginning, she's like, I'm not skinny dipping. Like, I'm not going to skinny dip. You know, and then all of a sudden she's like, let's do it right now. You know, so I thought that was a really, like, key point, and I really liked it. So it was cute.
She wouldn't even have done that with Sloan, which is quite an interesting point. Like, it's not, like, some of the lists were things that she wouldn't do on her own, but that was something that she never would have done at all. So it was really interesting to see her do that and actually enjoy it and embrace it.
Right.
For me, my favorite one that I was looking forward to was the Sleeping Under the Stars or Sleep Under the Stars, but it was boring because they did it in a house. So my actual favorite one was the Ride a Dern Horse Ya Cowpoke, because when she first goes and like everybody's there, she like flips out and she's like, "Oh, I have to go to work. Sorry, like bye," and like immediately gets out. So then you have to go back to that later. You know it's coming, and they sign up and they get like the smallest horse or whatever, and she rides it for like 5 minutes or something, and everybody's there like cheering her on, like yeah, like it's just so funny to picture it in your head that your friends, you know, you're 17 or 18 years old, they're coming to watch you ride like a horse, and you rode it for like 5 minutes and just left. Like, I just find that like, I can see them being like 30 and being like, remember the time Emily rode the horse for like 5 minutes? Like, I just picture that. Like, that's by that one. Because it took her 2 attempts to actually just ride the horse, let alone how many times she didn't, because Sloan knows she won't ride a horse. So I just think it's funny.
And that she had all those like horse riding credits just totaling up like all around.
Yeah. But I'll get 50% off the next time.
Yeah. You'll be getting it for free by the end.
Yeah, right?
Sarah Jane, what was your least favorite? I'm really
This makes me sound really boring. And like really, well, that's not appropriate. But I didn't like the Penelope one as much. Like, I liked the idea of them going together. I really liked that when she was like, "Come on, just come in," because everyone does that, let's face it. But encouraging Emily to go there on her own just made me feel really, I didn't like it, because, you know, at the end when she's like, "Oh, I nearly got into a fight, but I didn't," you know, because someone thinks that she's really Penelope and the bar guy. But that could have been really dangerous. And I just, if she'd have gone with someone, I'm not saying she had to go with Frank, but if she'd have gone with Dawn or something, and like she encouraged her to come with her, and you know she felt a bit guilty because she didn't go with Sloan or whatever, but the fact that she actually went there on her own, I just didn't enjoy it as much, because I just kept thinking, this isn't a good idea.
The buddy system, you need a buddy system.
Yeah, and I just didn't enjoy it as much, because I just kept thinking all of these tasks are like giving Emily the power to like be her own person and to be confident and to seize the day and all this stuff, and I was just like, but what is that really achieving on her own? I get why she did it, I get why, like I do get what it achieved, but because she went on her own, I just didn't like it as much, which makes me sound like a right stick in the mud.
I actually, you were saying Penelope, and I was like, I forgot which one it was, and it wasn't until the very end when you were like going to the club, and I was like, oh right, like I completely forgot that situation. So, and that's kind of indicative, like, it wasn't a big changing, you know, like, life-changing situation. Like, I completely forgot that it even happened. So.
Yeah, I just didn't enjoy it as much.
I forgot what my least favorite one is to break something, because I don't even remember what she broke.
Oh, that was the one that was all metaphorical, because she was like, she broke Dawn's ex-boyfriend's sunglasses.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was, but like.
But then she sees Gideon, and she's like, apparently I broke something else.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know?
Yep, it's my least favorite. Like,
dumb. Of Gideon, I sort of loved him a little bit, and I just felt bad for that whole situation, and I feel like I wanted more of that to be resolved a little bit, because it just like sucks how shitty it was. And the scene, the flashback scene when he drew the little cherries on her wrist,
that's cute.
That was so cute. And like the fact that he kept her little like surfing bear tattoo that she drew on him, like some people might think that's like, okay, you're being a little creepy, but I thought that was just adorable, because he was just like this little quiet, like artsy guy, and he was friends with that jerky dude, and he, you know, got his little heart broken, and I just felt so bad.
I felt really sorry for him, because it was like a classic example of like, oh, I was like, she wasn't being her own person.
Right.
But I just felt so sorry for him, because the way she was like, well, they're over, so we're over.
Right. You're like, Emily.
She didn't even wait like 20 minutes. It was just, they're breaking up, we're done.
Right.
Like, oh, come on. Like, I understand being with him out of the convenience because of the friend thing. I get that.
Everyone's done that.
Yeah. And then the sort of, oh, now they're broken up, what do we do? But it's not like she even thought about it. She didn't think, do I stay with him? Do I not? It was just, we're done.
And like, he just got no warning, and you know, he comes back and he's like, oh, you haven't like left yet, and she's like, yeah, they're breaking up, so bye. And he's just like, okay.
I thought maybe there'd be a little more of a dynamic where, because at that point Emily's not her own person. So when she is becoming her own person, why not reintroduce Gideon and then have her have just maybe a little internal struggle between Frank and Gideon and be like, wait, now that I am my own person, like, oh, I mean, this book was long, even though it went really quickly and I loved it. But there's some things like I don't know, I just wished were introduced or added, like, so.
Yeah, because he wasn't horrible, was he? Like, he was nice, and he was. When she met him again, I kept thinking that something more had gone on. I've got to be honest, because it was like I thought something really awful had happened. The way that she was like talking about it, and I know your comment, Sam, in the group. You're like, I want to know what happened. And I was like, yeah. And then when I found out what did happen, I was like, oh, okay. Like it wasn't quite what I expected it to be, if you know what I mean. And yeah, I would have liked to have seen her maybe see Gideon and be like, actually, I am my own person. Shall I go see him? And then Frank could be like, why are you doing that? Oh, well, you've got a girlfriend anyway, Frank, so what's it to you? Like, that could have been a really nice additional conflict, I suppose, and I feel like that was a bit of a missed opportunity.
Yeah, I was just, especially because at the beginning they built up the whole Gideon, and it's the ex-boyfriend's name Sam? I feel like it was.
Yeah.
I feel like I was reading it and I was like, really? But yeah, you have Gideon coming up to her at the, party, and you kind of knew that something, they had a falling out of some kind, and it didn't make a ton of sense. But then eventually you saw that, like, I kind of predicted that Sam did something shitty, and that's why everybody kind of. But originally, it was leaning towards, like, did she kiss Sam, like, willingly? And that's why they had. Because remember, there was all these hints of, like, I've seen how a friend is betrayed like that, and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But I'm glad it wasn't like that, because that would have been crappy. But.
Yeah, I'm happy that Sloan just like kind of saw it and didn't really. Right? She didn't blame Emily. I don't remember. Okay.
No.
Yeah, she was just kind of like, now I see what everyone's talking about with Sam.
Right.
So, thank you for being my friend. Like, and they just drive away, both single. Woo.
Right. Yeah, I thought that was handled really well too, because you do have a lot of these situations where like something like that happens in kind of cheating situation. It's like, oh, they're so. Why'd you do that to, like, the girlfriend?
And always blaming the girl.
Right, and that didn't happen. I was like, thank you, God. Because that would have
undone all
Thank you, Morgan Matson.
Right, exactly. Yeah, it would have just gone against everything that they had, like, built up and everything, so I'm glad that didn't happen.
Yeah.
What else do we want to say about the different
I wanted to ask Sarah Jane the question, because you live in the United Kingdom.
Yes,
in here they keep referencing Bug Juice. Now, that's the play that the mom and dad wrote.
Yeah.
Now, have you ever heard of Bug Juice before?
I assume that was just made up.
Okay. So I'm assuming, because it's always slanted and italicized, so that means it's usually referring or whatever to something that is real and existent. Here in the United States, we had I think it was Disney show called Bug Juice, and it was kids at camp. Now, this is so funny. Sam, when you liked my tweet, I wasn't at that part in the book of Bug Juice. A student had talked about it the day before, and I was like, oh my god, Bug Juice.
Oh my gosh.
And then you liked it, and then I got to the part in the book, and I was like, what? Sam just liked it. And what's happening? So it's the universe. So Bug Juice was actually a show, and I think that's why, because Morgan Matson's around our age or a little older, so she must have grown up right around the time of Bug Juice and been like, yeah, let's make a musical, and her parents wrote it.
Yeah, I loved Bug Juice back in the day, so I thought that was so funny. What did you guys think of, there wasn't a ton of family interactions in this one.
I was just going to say, let's talk about the fam.
What did you guys think about that family? Because there's a lot more family stuff in Amy and Roger's Epic Detour, so what did you guys think of the family stuff that was in this one?
I understood the family. Like, to some people, I'm like, how could the parents do that? But to me, I understand that when you get this like writing idea, you just have to like lock yourself away and stuff. And not that I'm going like, oh yeah, that was great. Maybe they should have paid a bit more attention. But I kind of understood that, and I love the way that their house was described. Those are like specifically about the family, but the way the house was described, it just gave you such a good idea of what the family was like. And I like the way that her mum was really quite cool with her doing most stuff. But just if she went too far, it was like, don't come back at 3 a.m.
Yeah, which is that one time.
Yeah, and I liked the way that her mum wasn't like this really strict parent, because often we have a character like Emily, you would think that they had really, really harsh parents.
Yeah, that was nice how it wasn't, because you have Emily, you're like, okay, she's obviously not gonna do anything wrong, so it'd be really annoying to have her have a strict family, because
Yeah.
then it'd be like, she doesn't do anything, like, why are you getting like this? So the fact that she did have like a very easygoing family, and it kind of worked out. Obviously, I mean, that's why the story was written this way. It worked out that she could kind of do whatever she wanted in the summer, where she kind of needed to do whatever she could do.
Yeah.
You know, where before she would have all these curfews and stuff like that.
But I like it. I like the way that Morgan Matson, that is the parent's character, so that's why it works out. Because I always looking for like the things that are always like convenient. Like when we read the Grisha, like it wasn't just convenient. I don't want to spoil anything for anybody else, but for certain characters, just all of a sudden have things like they're introduced way before, and then they're able to use it. So for her to have her parents like just being consumed with making a musical, rather it being like, oh, we're just going to go on a trip for about 3 weeks and like we'll be back,
right?
And then watch your brother and have a great time, so I really enjoyed that was part of their character, and part of the whole book is that their parents are always consumed, and they're driven through that because they wrote stuff together before that was really well known and successful, so they're trying to break through and make that happen again. So that's what I enjoyed.
And like the living room theatre and stuff, like that all happens because of the kind of people that her parents are, and it's not just added, like you say, to be convenient. Because with all teen things, it happens, doesn't it? Like the parents are never around,
Right.
And I think, like, say for Frank's parents, obviously we didn't need a big reason for Frank's parents not to be around because he's not the main character. But if that sort of thing had been on her parents, it would have been like, that's not enough. So we got just enough for who the characters were.
Right.
I liked that. And I like that she got closer with, oh my god, what's his name? What's the brother's name?
Beckett.
I don't remember the brother, but yeah, there we go.
I kept saying Bucket in my head. I was like, that is not it.
Look at Bucket over there.
Yeah, she's not a brother Bucket. But yeah, I liked how like she did things with him because she'd spent like all her time with Sloan, and then it was like, oh, actually, that was
how
quite
old is he? I forget, like 7 or 10.
I feel like he's like 7 or 8. I picture him as younger.
Yeah, I picture him as 7. Because I liked the scene when he was like, she's like, you can't go up there, you can't just walk around to the top, and he was like, but I can, and I just did it, and I'm fine, so.
Right. Right. It's like, you can't, you'll get hurt. He's like, but I didn't.
Yep.
So funny. Yeah. We do have a question from Adriana, and this was actually, it's kind of talking about Amy and Rogers. Apparently Morgan Matson does Easter eggs for all other books within her books, which I knew, but I didn't really see. So she asked that, sure, there's a cameo of Amy and Roger in Since You've Been Gone, and is that true? And if it is, in what part of the book is it? I actually looked through the book. I was waiting for it. I was waiting for something Amy and Roger related, and they themselves weren't in the book. But apparently one of the friends that comes to Living Room Theater is Amy's mom. But I don't remember last names enough to know that. So, but that is like, Amy's mom apparently is in like one of the colleges or theater or something. So she was there. And they might have said something about Amy's mom's, daughter or whatever, but I didn't pay attention enough to see that because I didn't remember her last name. So it is in there, and I guess I'm not sure if anything from Second Chance Summer is in these books, but I'm sure something from Since You've Been Gone will be in her next book, etc.
Doesn't just real quick, I think Sarah Dessen does that as well.
I think she does too.
Yeah, I read like 2 when I was in high school, but I think she does because I remember my best friend was really big into Sarah Dessen, and she was like, "Oh my God, if you read this one, then the other 2 people are in it." And I was like, "What? What do you mean?" And as I started to like books, I understood what that was.
The importance.
Yeah, but I was like, I don't get it. Like, why would they show up in another book? Doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Doesn't Stephanie Perkins do that as well?
She does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've only read Anna, so.
Yeah, because her contemporary books are all technically companions. I actually like that with contemporary books, and you have companion series. So I thought that was cute.
And I think Rainbow Rowell does it.
Yeah, she does.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
They know. It's a good idea.
Do it. Yep.
Do it.
As far as the like ending and stuff, so let's start with the big kind of blow up of like them kissing in the car after the like gala and all of that kind of unraveling. What were your thoughts on that situation?
Well, I first forgot in the beginning of the book when they talked about the piece of wood over the top of her car. I was like, why? Like, why don't you just get it fixed. I don't understand why we keep putting a plank in there. Like, okay. So I had forgotten about that piece of wood and until that moment when she was like, I'm driving, we have to go, it's going to rain. Like, oh my God. And I was like, oh no, the piece of wood.
Oh
The
no.
piece of wood's not there. So, I thought it was cute. Like, for me, I picture it in my head as, like, the movie scene, like, what it would look like. And I thought it was cute when she was like, we both lean in, and of course that's where the rain is, but that's where we have to meet. So I thought it was adorable, and I was happy until what happened after. But yeah, I loved the kiss. I was so happy. I was like, oh, finally.
It was like the classic rain kiss in a really quirky, cute teen way. And I really liked that. It was just, what happened after.
Right. Yeah, I liked it too. It was very, like, I thought it was very realistic and stuff for the situation. But everything after, I was depressed for, like, the whole chapter after because it was just, like, everything was happening. And then when Dawn was like, well, I can't talk to you anymore because you, like, helped somebody cheat. And I was like, but it's not like that. Like, it's not like your friend and your boyfriend who are, like, making out in the back room when you're in the front room. Like, it's different. And I know that, like, some people probably had a problem with that if you are really sensitive to, like, cheating topics and whatever, because it technically still is. But he definitely went right away and, like, stopped it. It wasn't like it was drawn out. And he was like, you know what? This is, we're done. This is just me seeing, like, we are done, and I need to stop, and I need to go fix this, and blah, blah, blah. I did have a little bit of I don't really like miscommunication in books that much, so when she, like, wouldn't talk to him, and then he, like, wouldn't tell her what he was going to say, he's like, no, I came and said I was going to say it before, and you wouldn't let me. I was like, listen, guys, you guys both know that you like each other, so let's just fix it. Like, I understand where she was like, I don't want to hear it, I don't want to hear that you're going back with your girlfriend, let's just not be friends, I've already had everybody else, like, basically leave me, whatever. I get why she did that, but then when they're driving to go see Sloan, and she's like, what were you going to say? And he's like, never mind. And I'm like, stop.
Yeah, and also the way she reacted, while I understand it, she acted a bit like the old Emily.
Right.
Like, it didn't feel like the new Emily talking anymore, it felt like old Emily, and I get that a knockback like that pushes her back, and I get that she is going to feel sensitive about it and stuff, but if he'd just said something and it had come out wrong and then she went, oh, I don't want to hear it or something, I probably could have believed it more. But it was so clear to me, I know, like, obviously I'm the reader, but it was so clear what he was going to say.
Right.
If he'd have said something and it could have been taken the wrong way, and then I'd get why she felt that way, but it was just kind of like, come on, guys, let's bang your heads together.
Yep.
Seriously. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just getting mad because she's like, I don't understand why, you haven't been answering me or whatever. And he's like, well, you left me in the middle of the street. Like, you physically left me there. You just walked away, and I'm yelling for you, and you just keep walking. Like, what am I supposed to think? He's like, obviously I'm mad because you're not letting me say what I want to say, so why would you ask for it now? Like, let me say it 4 or 5 days ago. Why do you want to hear now? It's past the time. Like, I could see exactly why Frank was angry.
Yeah, then just in the car, I was like, guys, you're being awkward in the car. Can we just, like, get this over with? Like,
stop. They drove, like, 25 minutes without music.
Right.
I was like,
I'm just, like,
she's
sitting
like, it's
there.
20 minutes in. We're 20 minutes into New Jersey. You want me to turn on the radio? Like, wait, what? You were listening to nothing for 20 minutes?
You can see it though, can't you? Like, if it was a film, you can see it in your head. You can just see this awkwardness and like, like he's looking at her, and then always no, I'm not, I'm focusing on the road, and then you can just see it, and it just cracked me up so much I couldn't help but laugh.
Absolutely. What did you guys think of going to finally find Sloan?
That's what I was saying.
I did not think it was going to happen like that. I have not read Paper Towns, but this book feels reminiscent of that book, even though I haven't read it. Because like, the girl's gone, and they have to do these things in order to find her. So I was like, I don't know, is she going to, like... I didn't know if she was just going to pop back up. Like, all of a sudden be like, oh, I'm back from... We went to Greece for 2 months or something. Like, well, I didn't know what was going to happen. So when she was going to that address, I was just like, how do you know Sloan is just gonna be there, like, chilling? So I didn't really understand. And then you guys, what did you guys think before we?
I had loads of, like, dark, twisted theories. I thought, I was just like, what's going on here? I was expecting the reason to be something massive. and I kept having all these thoughts, and I was like, why would she just leave? And I know that she said that, you know, she's gone off on like trips before and left her lists and stuff, so that made sense. But I didn't quite feel that Sloane's reason was good enough. If you know what I mean, like when she says, "Oh, you know, I don't. What was the point?" Blah blah blah, and it was like, come on, you've been friends for that amount of time. Surely she knew it was worth keeping in touch. I get that she'd had all these like lost friendships before, and it was perhaps too painful, but I thought there had to be some big reason why these best friends were ripped apart, and it didn't actually come across like that. I mean, I had all kinds of crazy theories. I was like, has she disappeared? Is she pregnant? I had all these weird theories going on in my head, and then when it actually came out that she just didn't want
pregnant.
that she didn't want to keep in touch, I can understand why, but because she didn't want to, I just kind of went, oh, okay. So, yeah, I don't know, kind of a bit torn about it.
Yeah, I felt similar, but at the same time they built it up enough to where you kind of knew why Sloan did that, because like you said, it was all these, she's moved around so much and whatever, but I thought it was kind of sad when Emily finally realized, like, when she did the camera thing, and she's like, this is how Sloan saw the world or whatever, and it was all pictures of Emily, just like Emily's camera was all pictures of Sloan, and I was like, oh. So I think it was very kind of crucial for Sloan's character too to have somebody fight for her, kind of.
Yeah.
Because everyone just kind of lets her go, and so for Emily to come and be like, I'm here, and we're gonna still be friends, and you're gonna write me, and we're gonna talk, and you know whatever. That was definitely something that Sloan needed to hear, and I think that she wasn't willing to believe it before, and that's just kind of very indicative of Sloan's character. So I kind of liked it.
Yeah.
I was waiting for something big too. Like I was like, oh, it's gonna be something huge, or she's gonna just pop up again, or whatever, or she was just kind of a flighty character or something. But I liked how it kind of wrapped up, and that they could kind of get to, you know, rekindle that friendship and be friends again, and everything kind of worked out on that front ultimately. Because if they would have just had it where like Sloan doesn't ever appear again, it's just gonna be like, what happened to Sloan? She was just like a character device.
She had to come back, didn't she?
Yeah,
right.
We wanted Sloan to see Emily's transition, like her journey. And if Sloan hadn't seen that, that would have been really strange, I think. And also, I suppose Sloan did feel really embarrassed because obviously they didn't have any money. So, and I think. Obviously, I look at it like, oh, that's a bit, you know, but obviously these are teenagers. Teenagers do care about stuff like that, and that is going to be embarrassing for someone in that position. And I suppose, like we were saying earlier, this is how Emily saw Sloan through her eyes. It's like the quirky, cool girl who is everything I can't be. But when she saw Sloan's camera, she never viewed herself like that. She never viewed herself as being any better than Emily. She was just different. And so it was really nice to see that camera with all the photos of Emily, because Sloan wasn't this really cool person. Or she was, but she wasn't. She was just a normal girl who had a best friend. They both adored each other. Cute.
Sorry, I heard yelling outside. That's why I thought I really liked that Emily drives up, sees Sloan just chilling on the porch with a magazine and a Diet Coke. And in essence, like, Sloan doesn't think she's cool, because she has to do all these things, and, you know, and she always is moving, but like, you are, like, even though all these things are going on, you're just there, like, hanging out. Like, you just imagine rolling up and seeing your friend with sunglasses on, with a Diet Coke, just like reading, and she's like, what? Like, I just think she's still cool, even though she thinks she's not. Like, that is cool, just to see her.
She's effortlessly cool, isn't she?
Right.
Yeah, I really liked her. I found it, you know, strange. Some people didn't like her character. I loved Sloan.
Yeah, I liked Sloan, I think, the whole time.
Yeah.
Where, like, Emily, you weren't sure in moments. It was like,
Yeah.
Like, Sloan was cooler, but she was never nasty.
Yeah.
Like, she never like let the fact that she was more confident than Emily be a reason for them not to be friends. Like, the only time they ever had a little bit of a tiff was the Penelope thing.
Yep.
But it never affected their friendship, so I liked that she was likable, you know?
Yeah, and she wasn't like a mean girl or anything. The only thing about the ending that I didn't like, because I liked how we wrapped it up with Sloan, I liked how she's like officially with Frank now. I would have liked everything to be rekindled with Dawn and even like Collins. Like, I needed them to know, like, I needed that to be a friendship, because now she has these new friends, and it's like, it's not okay that she just has this boyfriend, which I know that I'm assuming that they would all kind of rekindle everything now and everything will be fine. Like, I kind of get that that's how it's going to go. But at the same time, I wanted that to be, like, for sure laid out. Like, her and Dawn are fine and everything else. Like, that was my only complaint. Because, like, we built up this other female friendship, and then we, like, tore it down, and we don't ever hear about it again. But, like I said, I know that's kind of how it's going to go. They're going to be fine, but I wish we would have seen that.
And it wouldn't have taken a lot, would it? Even just like a text message, and she'd be like, how are you? I found Sloan, and she went, cool, do you want to come over? Like, something like that, just a simple text would be like, let me know when you get back, I'll come round. You know, just something to tell us that these two are going to be all right. I assume they are going to be. I didn't, you know, but sometimes you just want it spelled out for you, don't you? And Emily didn't do something, although obviously it wasn't good, we've already covered that, she didn't do something that warranted losing that friendship for. So it would have been nice to have seen that wrapped up, because it tells you that, you know, it as a reader, it could potentially read that, oh, well, you know, Dawn fell out with her because she did that was so bad.
Yeah.
You know, so it would have been nice to have just seen that wrapped up a little bit, but it was still a nice ending.
Yeah. Overall, I liked the ending, and it wasn't super vague, obviously, but I just would like that a little more.
Yeah. Agreed.
Same.
Yep.
So overall, what did you guys rate the book? Star rating. What did you guys think?
4 out of 5 for me.
I said 4 out of 5 as well.
I said 5 out of 5 because I just love Morgan Matson so much, and it was what I expected it to be, and it did the contemporary so well, and I think she just kind of filled all the boxes as far as need for contemporary and stuff. And I just like how all of how Morgan Matson has a bunch of threads constantly, and then at the end she wraps them up in this nice pretty bow, and it's good, and everything's great, you know. So I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I'm trying to be a bit harsher with my 5 stars at the moment. Like, really,
That's
only a bit, it really pushes me over. And I was like, it's a bit like Anna and the French Kiss in it is what it was meant to be, and it achieved that perfectly. Do you know what I mean? Obviously it's a girly YA contemporary book. It's not trying to be anything other than that, and if someone wants that sort of book, I would definitely recommend it, because it did everything it was meant to, and it was just really nice.
I have a question now for both of you. If there was one thing you wanted to put on the list, what would you have put on there?
Oh gosh.
Like, now that you know Emily, even though we don't know things that she might not have been able to do, what would be something you would have added, or at least for a friend maybe of yours?
That's hard because they did cover a lot of the bases as far as all of her getting out of her shell things. Oh man. Do you have an idea of what you would add?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Sarah.
Well, you know, we were just saying about Dawn. I wish that if there was something you could add to the list at the last minute, it would be just something like make things right, or, you know, have the courage to say I'm sorry, because okay, she didn't do anything to Dawn, but you'd still be like, I'm sorry, no, I'm sorry, blah blah blah. And actually, it would just be perfect if that was the kind of thing on there. But I think as far as her development goes, I think there was nothing else she really. No, I would fix that damn sunroof.
Right?
That's what I would say. Get a new car.
Yeah, get a new car, Emily.
Right. Fix your sunroof.
Yeah, that's number 14.
Maybe
I just wanted her to. Go ahead.
Maybe do a marathon or half marathon or something, because she had stopped running.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. Something running, even if it was I don't know if you know what the Dirty Girl or the Mud Runs or whatever those are. Something that she would just go out and be look, you're really good at something. Running is your thing. Why don't you win, or go to a race? And that's why I was why isn't there anything on there about running, or something with music, because they all liked music a lot. You know, the band thing, but there wasn't, because her and Frank traded playlists. Maybe it'd be something go to a concert that's actually a big, a Luke Bryan or something like that. Because I went to Luke Bryan and he's great.
I have no idea who that is. I'm just saying.
Right.
What? Sarah Jane.
Go away, Sarah Jane. You're not welcome.
Speaking of the playlist, it's probably our last question before we wrap everything up. But Morgan Matson always has playlists, I'm pretty sure, in all the books. Maybe not Second Chance Summer, but she did in Amy Rogers. How do you guys, with the music, usually I think I'm pretty good as far as music, and sometimes I don't even know half the stuff on those playlists. I'm just I don't, how do you come up with that? I don't know. I know those are all real bands, those are all real songs, but I only know like a third of them half the time. So the significance, I guess, to me doesn't translate as much because like I
didn't know
know
who
some of the
was singing.
stuff's older and retro and some of it was country, and I knew that like all of Frank's bands were a lot of like indie whatever, but I just they weren't as necessary, I feel like, in this book. They're a little more necessary in Amy and Rogers because they kind of show the tone of what's going on. But with this, it was less significant, I guess.
Yeah, I didn't feel it was as necessary. I mean, I haven't even read the Epic Detour book, but obviously that's a road trip and you play music on a road trip, so it's kind of it goes hand in hand. With this, it perhaps felt like that's now her thing, so it was added as
Mm-hmm.
an afterthought rather than something that was actually needed. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't know who hardly any of the artists were. I did put it down to perhaps some of these are more popular, like over there than over here. I did notice one Imagine Dragons song, and I did think of you, Sam.
Yes, I was. When I saw that, I was like, "Yes, I know that one."
Yeah,
I knew,
I just went.
I knew like a few. Yeah, I knew a few on each playlist. But typically speaking, I didn't know. I mean, I knew like some of the older retro stuff. I think they had like she had like Billy Joel on some of them and stuff like that. But and I think there's more country ones too. But I don't know any country, so I like, didn't know.
I like for me the playlist. The first one I read in like detail, like every artist, and looked at all the songs. And then the next one I did the same thing, but then they came redundant, and I was like, meh, like whatever. I don't need to like look at these anymore. And because I make playlists all the time for Spin, like it was cool to see it, but all of the songs that they were running to were not songs I would run to. I don't know.
Right.
Like a lot of them were just like, I don't know. I need like a beat. Like I need like bang bang.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, like like that stuff. I don't know. Like that was just not. I was like, how are they running to this music? It's weird.
It didn't
Right.
really feel essential, did it? It just kind of it was
No,
nice, but
it was cute. Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm.
it wasn't really needed.
Right. Okay, so we all enjoyed it, obviously. So
Yep.
that is it for our April read along.
Yay.
We are not doing anything in May for sure. I know this is random, but for once we do have something kind of planned. We are going to be doing right. We are going to be doing a read along in June for A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas.
Yay!
Yay! So that gives people time to get it. If any of you are pre-ordering it or whatever, I know that a lot of people are pre-ordering it, and if you want to read it right away in May when you get it, I totally understand. But if you want to join us for the live show, it'll probably be the end of June or beginning of July. That way it gets a chance for everybody to get it. I know she's doing a ton of signings, so if some of you are waiting to see her at your signings, hopefully you can see her there and get the book and whatever, and then we can talk about that because us three all read Throne of Glass together and are caught up on Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas, so it's kind of carrying over and doing A Court of Thorns and Roses, and we are all very excited. So we'll put that all in the Goodreads group, and you guys can check that out, and we'll be doing announcements on our channels in June for you guys so that you all are reminded of it and stuff. So we will see some of you hopefully for A Court of Thorns and Roses in June.
Yay! That would be so exciting.
Looking forward to it. All right, guys. So it was good to talk with all of you, and thank you for joining us. And we will see all of you later.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.